Hello, you absolute legends. Super Mario 64 is the most popular speedrunning game of all time. Its world records are some of the most difficult and respected runs in all of speedrunning. Given how competitive this game is, you would think that new world records would be few and far between. But surprisingly, players are still pumping out better and better times. In the past 6 weeks, we have seen new world records in all 5 of the main categories. Some of these records are starting to get ridiculously optimized, and we are rapidly approaching a couple of major milestones. This is a very exciting time for Super Mario 64, so let's take a quick look at each of these amazing world records. Now, I'm unsure exactly just how many of you are familiar with these categories, so just to make sure everyone is on the same page, I will briefly explain each one as I go. In Super Mario 64, the vast majority of gameplay is dedicated to collecting stars in each of the different courses. The purpose of the stars is to grant Mario access to more parts of the castle, along with Bowser stages where Mario ultimately faces off with Bowser. The first Bowser stage requires 8 stars. Once Bowser is defeated, we receive a key that gives us access to the castle basement. The second Bowser stage requires 30 stars. After the second Bowser fight, we receive a key that grants Mario access to the upper floors of the castle. A door requiring 50 stars blocks the very top floor, and an endless staircase requiring 70 stars is the barrier to the very final Bowser stage. All of these barriers can be bypassed without their respective star requirements by taking advantage of the fact that Mario's backwards speed has no limit. By using backwards long jumps, Mario can build up enough speed to get through doors and other various obstacles. This mechanic can only be abused in certain locations where the player can easily spam backwards long jumps quickly. Obviously, with the quicker categories we don't collect many stars, so we will need to take advantage of all of these glitches. So let's go through them in order from easiest to most difficult. The endless stairs leading to the final Bowser fight is by far the easiest. The infinite length the staircase provides means that you can continue to jump backwards trying to gain traction without having to worry about the staircase ending. The 50-star door is also relatively easy to get through, but here, the stairs do end, so if you fail to gain traction after a few jumps, you need to stop and return to the beginning. Getting through the 8-star door leading to the first Bowser is where things start to get a bit trickier. Backward speed is built up by getting inside this wall and long jumping into the corner. The only thing that makes this a bit harder is the fact that you need to build up the correct amount of speed before initiating the glitch. This is all done by timing and feel. Build up too much speed and you'll be flown out prematurely. Build up too little and you'll trigger the castle's front door instead of going straight through. The 30-star door leading to the second Bowser stage is by far the hardest. The only way to build up enough speed is to use this tiny staircase. This requires a very precise angle to get enough speed off of the stairs. This trick is way harder than it looks, and there is actually a lot more that goes into the technique than you'd think just by looking at it. There are 2 versions of this glitch. The first, and easiest, is just to get through the 30-star door itself. Once through, a star needs to be collected from Dire Docks before we can get to the second Bowser stage. Getting this particular star allows water to retreat that was blocking the hole leading to Bowser. Using this method, we can complete the game with only 1 star. The second version of this glitch gets Mario not only through the 30-star door, but also through the entrance to Dire Docks. This allows us to get into the Bowser stage without collecting any stars. This is much more precise both in angle and speed. I won't go deep into the specifics in this video, but it is very difficult to pull this off and the inputs are very counterintuitive. To give you an idea of just how rare this trick is to execute, here is a clip from Games Done Quick in 2015 of it being performed live. Watch the reactions from both the speedrunner, the spectators, and the announcer. Pay attention to the screen on the left.
It's ridiculously hard. Yes! I got it!
Whoa.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I got it!
Goodness, dude. That is insane. That is actually insane, dude.
Yeah, you need a very specific amount of speed to pass through DDD, and then you can just go straight to Fire C. If you don't get that, then
I'm so nervous right now.
You'll have to go through DDD and grab a star. to get to fire state.
Now let's take a look at these world records. On the 28th of April, the Japanese speedrunner Chrono beat the 0-star world record with a time of 6 minutes, 39 seconds, and 9 milliseconds. This improved the previous world record held by the American Jobst by over 2.5 seconds. The 0-star category is effectively the any percent category, and is the quickest way in which you can complete the game. This world record is starting to get incredibly optimized. There is only one thing in the entire run that I would class as a mistake. In the second Bowser stage, Chrono messed up the setup to what is called the pole glitch. After this mistake, he used a backup setup to perform the glitch, which he managed to pull off successfully. This slight error cost approximately 1 second, but it also prevented him from doing the optimal strategy further on in the stage. These platforms here move up and down on a cycle, and because he was slightly slower, the platform had lowered to the point where he couldn't use the optimal movement. This cost a further second. You'll be able to see the ideal strategy in the next world record that we will take a look at. The backwards long jump through the 50-star door was really nice, and the backwards long jump up the 70-star staircase went decent as well. It took him an extra jump to gain traction on the stairs, but all things considered, that's still really quick. Everything else about the run was superb. It's going to take a very, very good run to beat. Chrono would then move on to the 1-star category. On the 5th of May, he achieved a time of 7 minutes, 20 seconds, and 60 milliseconds, which beat the previous world record by just under a second. The previous record was also held by Jobst, so unfortunately for him, he lost 2 world records in the span of a week. Now the 0-star and 1-star records were held again by a Japanese runner. The reason I bring up their nationalities is because the Japanese really love the shorter categories, and for the longest time they have had a stranglehold over these world records. By looking at these leaderboards, you can see just how much the Japanese dominate these categories. So when the American Jobst took both the 0-star and 1-star world records, that was a pretty big deal, and something that hadn't happened since the categories were created. The 1-star world record is starting to get incredibly optimized. The backwards long jump through the 30-star door is much easier, and because of this, players can finish many more runs. So even though the run itself is slightly longer than the 0-star category, the record has been perfected to a larger extent. The only misstep I saw in the run was a slow climb when getting into position for the first glitch of the run, losing approximately 2 seconds. In the second Bowser stage, he executed the pole glitch perfectly, and because of this, he was much faster to the raising platforms. Now we get to see the optimal strategy, which, while faster, is definitely more complex and a lot harder to perform. The backwards long jumps at the 50 and 70-star barriers took an extra jump each before they were successful. This does cost some time, but it's not really considered a mistake, and it's still really quick. You can play these parts as well as humanly possible and still lose a bunch of time.
おい見てろよっしゃ次強いってやるからなしゃあ
On the 10th of May, the speedrunner Aki broke the 16-star world record with a time of 15 minutes and 4 seconds. Aki already held the record with a 15:08 set back in October of 2018. Of the 4 major skips that we saw in the shorter categories, the only one that is different is the 30-star door. Here, the backwards long jump glitch is not permitted. The only other way to skip this door early is to use a rabbit named Mips. Mips appears in the castle basement once Mario has collected 15 stars. Once through the 30-star door, we still need to collect the star in Dire Docks to gain access to the second Bowser stage, hence a total of 16 stars is needed. This is where the runs start to get a lot more interesting in my opinion, as we actually get to see Mario entering different courses and collecting stars. There are a lot of really interesting and complex strategies that are used. I'd like to focus on one particular star for a minute, and that's a star in Whomp's fortress called Blast Away the Wall. The way you're supposed to collect this star is by destroying the corner section of this wall by shooting Mario out of a nearby cannon. The star is hidden inside. Getting the star this way is really slow because you have to talk to a pink bob-omb first and watch a cutscene that shows the cannon opening. In 2006, a player by the name of Nesrox discovered that you can collect the star without breaking away the wall. This was actually found by accident when he was trying to wall kick off the wall, but collected the star instead. A quicker way to grab the star by running off this plank was quickly discovered, and this technique has been used in world records since at least 2009. The strategy is simply known as Cannonless. This is all well and good, but there is just one problem with this strategy. It is extremely precise. In fact, it is so precise that it is impossible for a human to successfully perform this strategy consistently. Most runs would end right here at this star. The first time the star is missed, runners would go and collect a different star, which was slightly faster than going back up to try again. But after the second miss, players would simply reset. This was a pretty large pain point for all of these 16-star runners for quite a few years. But then in 2014, someone by the name of Sockfolder discovered a setup that would allow you to get the star almost every single time. This setup was a lot slower than simply running off the plank, but the increased consistency meant that players could get so many more runs past this point. As I was saying with the 1-star category, getting more runs enabled people to optimize the rest of the run at a much faster rate. As time went on and it became harder and harder to save time elsewhere, players started to turn their eyes back onto Cannonless as an area that could be optimized. Obviously, they knew that resorting back to the original strategy would be much faster, but this would also be a lot more frustrating. Over the last year, a slightly more difficult but faster setup, known as texture setup, had become much more popular with top runners. Players would use the textures on the plank to identify where to initiate the ledge grab. This was used all the way up until the previous world record of 1508, set in October of 2018. In the most recent record, however, Aki reverted back to the original Cannonless strategy, which had not been used in a world record run since all the way back in 2013. It's really cool to see this strategy come full circle after all of these years. While not as optimized as the 0 and 1-star categories, this new world record is still really tight. There were a few errors in this run though, most notably a complete failure to perform the pole glitch in the second Bowser level. This ended up costing a few seconds, and you can hear Aki's frustration at this mistake. The 16-star world record is now only 4 seconds away from breaking the 15-minute barrier. This will be a huge deal when the barrier is finally broken. The last time a minute barrier was broken in this category was all the way back in 2011. This event could happen at any time, and I would love to give you an update when it finally occurs.
I'm not looking at the timer, but I'm pretty sure that's it. I'm pretty sure. That has to be it. I'm pretty sure I just got it. I'm pretty sure. I swear. I swear I just got it. Let me look at the timer. I fucking got it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I wasn't. I knew I was on World Record phase, but like, I knew it. Yes.
On the 18th of May, the speedrunner Punkation beat the 70-star record with a time of 47 minutes and 23 seconds. This beat the previous record held by Targo by 8 seconds, a huge margin. In the 70-star category, players are not allowed to use any of the major skips used in the 0, 1, or 16-star categories. This means that all star requirements must be reached legitimately to pass through doors. 70 stars is the minimum amount of stars you're supposed to collect in standard play to complete the game. Punke is a veteran of Super Mario 64 and has held the 70-star world record numerous times in the past. The first time being all the way back in 2014. Over the last 6 months, the 70-star category has seen a lot of action. Since October of 2016, new world records were pretty scarce. The category was dominated by the speedrunner Cheese. In October of 2016, he broke the 48-minute barrier for the first time with a 47.56. This would last over a year, until it was beaten again by Cheese in January of 2018. This new record of 47.34 absolutely smashed his previous run and was a crazy skip. For the time, this record was incredible. But since early 2018, players have started to use faster strategies for many of the stars. Generally, optimizations are pretty small, but they do start to add up. One of the larger advancements was a faster way to perform a glitch in the shifting sand lands called Pillarless. It's given this name because it enables you to enter the top of the pyramid without having to stand on top of the 4 pillars surrounding it, which is the normal way of granting access. The original version of Pillarless had been used for years, but in late 2018, a different method found by the speedrunner Tama started to become a lot more prominent in runs. Tama's Pillarless method saves up to 2 seconds, and the glitch is performed twice in the run, allowing for a total save of 4 seconds. It's much harder to perform though, and it took quite a while for top runners to become comfortable using it in their attempts. In February of 2019, the runner Targo beat Cheese's record, which had stood for over a year, with a time of 47:31. This run saw the first time the new Pillarless strategy was performed in any world record. In the new record, he actually messed this strategy up, but still somehow managed to hold it together and enter the pyramid. This save is actually much more difficult than completing the glitch normally. People are now starting to question the feasibility of breaking the 47-minute barrier. It's definitely theoretically possible, and if you were to take any of the top players and stitch together their best segments, it would definitely be in the 46-minute range. But as the run is so complex, reaching perfection is just not something that is ever going to happen. Personally, I think that we will need to see a few more optimizations before people start taking the possibility of going much lower seriously.
I still got it. I still got it, dude! I still fucking got it!
On the 4th of June, the speedrunner Cheese broke his own 120-star world record with a time of 1 hour, 39 minutes and 15 seconds. This beat his previous record by 4 seconds, which was set over a year ago on the 8th of February 2018. In the 120-star category, there are no restrictions at all on what strategies or glitches that you can use. The only requirement is that you collect every single star possible in the game before finishing. This new record is really crazy, and the thing that stands out the most is the fact that Cheese actually died in one of the courses earlier in the run. This fall cost 27 seconds, which is a monstrous amount of time for these runs. Years ago, when runs were a lot more primitive, it wasn't uncommon to see a new record with 1 or more deaths somewhere in the run. But these days, this is extremely unlikely. The record has gotten to the point where dying should almost certainly cost too much time to recover from. As I pointed out in the 70-star category, however, there have been many smaller optimizations throughout the run since the last record was achieved. So while he lost a significant amount of time by dying, he made up for it in the other stages. There was also a time loss at the very final Bowser fight, where he missed one of the throws. Missing a Bowser throw costs approximately 10 seconds. So in total, these 2 mistakes alone cost 37 seconds. This makes it pretty clear to most people that the record will soon head into 138 territory, something that Cheese has been close to achieving several times before. In March of this year, Reddit user FBomb2F posted a $4,000 bounty for the person who holds the 120-star world record by the end of 2019. Looking at the category leaderboard, this new record puts Cheese 21 seconds ahead of second place. Though Cheese has made it pretty clear that he's going to continue the 120-star grind and take this record lower. The real question will be if anyone else is going to be able to post a competing run. There are a couple of runners who have been making a lot of progress lately, but it's still unclear if they can continue improving quick enough to be able to compete. If I were to predict, I'd say this record will break the 1 hour and 39 minute barrier by the end of the year. And based strictly on concrete performances, I'm putting my money on Cheese to be the one to take this bounty home. If any of you guys want to support this channel for free, please go and follow me on Twitch. I have begun streaming regularly again, so it would be awesome if you could come and say hello and hang out. I have my videos for the next couple of months already planned out, so if you want to know what they will be ahead of time, you can join my Discord. The links for both of these are in the description. Thank you to the heroes on screen for supporting me on Patreon. I am blown away by your support. I hope you are having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.